Welcome to the Nook of books. So today I have just finished reading To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. It is an amazing read. Nice and short, you can get it done in a day. Really good pace. The story arcs nicely. So you got your main characters, Lyra and Elian. So this book is all about sirens and mermaids. So if you're a fan of Greek myth like me, you're going to love that. Also going to love it if you're a fan of the original Little Mermaid movie. And the original Little Mermaid tale, I suppose, as I prefer the more grim side of fairy tales rather than the Disney. Although Disney movies are always a classic. Can never go wrong with Disney. Anyways, gonna sidetrack if I'm not careful. So yeah, this book, it is awesome. Really good plots. It ties off really nicely at the end. There is 2 books in this series, the 100 Kingdom novels, but you do not have to read the other one. It has nothing to do with the current storyline. Lyra and Elian, they're not in it. It's called The Princess of Souls. But again, like I said, nothing to do with this storyline. This is all just its own universe. So you have the kingdom where the sirens live, and that's in the Diavalos Sea. The sirens also speak their own kind of language, Saurine. They live in the city of Quito, named after their goddess, Quito. This definitely was inspired by Greek mythology, as there is a sea goddess, Quito, in Greek myth. She was known to be the goddess of dangerous creatures of the sea, and sea monsters, whales, sharks, dragons, venomous animals. Several terrifying dragons, but a well-known one would be Echidna. There was a large crab called Scylla that ate sailors, a serpent called Ladon that had 100 heads, the Grey, and the Gorgons, the most well-known, of course, being Medusa. But Medusa, granted, wasn't born a monster. She was turned into a monster. But go back to podcast 1 for more on that tale. Anywho, moving on. It was a really nice sort of, I'm starting to get into the fall vibe, and I did go to Greece this summer, so I suppose it all just kind of tied into what really drew me into this book. Really well written. 100% I would recommend it. I would give it 4 stars overall. I would have liked a little bit more depth, but given that it's all in one book and it's generally a short story overall, I like the pace, I like the characters, I like the relationship that is built up over time. And I liked aspects where you can see the crossover with Ariel from The Little Mermaid. I mean, Lyra, she has red hair, for example. And Elian has dark hair with green eyes. But they certainly... It's not a love story. There's not a lot of heavy romance or heavy petting scenes. It's nothing like that. It's more about Lyra and her self-reflection and trying to adapt as the situation goes on. Because she definitely doesn't want to be a human. Here's a case in point, just an example. A little quote from the book. "Let us see," sneers the queen, "if there is any hope for redemption left in you." She taps the base of the trident onto the floor, and I feel pain like nothing I could have imagined. My bones snap and realign themselves. Blood pours from my mouth and ears, melting through my skin. My gills, my fin splits, tearing me straight down the middle, breaking me in two. The scales that once shimmered like stars are severed in moments, and beneath my breast comes a beating I have never known. It feels like 1,000 fists pounding from the inside. Like, oh, the brutality. Certainly no, oh, I want to, fall in love with the prince, and I want legs and dance on the sand. Like I said, it's all good in Disney, but I prefer this more bleak, cruel rugged world. And the Sea Queen, wow, she makes everything about brutality, utter brutality. She's a fantastic villainess, very cruel. But I was saying about not the timeline, but the relationship that gets built up very, very slowly. And not just relationship, but general trust, I think, between Elian and Lyra. Just so you know, I say to Lyra, if you're lying, I might kill you. Lyra tips her chin up, eyes defiant and too blue for me to look at her straight. At first, I'm not sure if she's gonna say anything back, but then she licks her lips, and I know it's because she can taste the sweetness of whatever insult she's about to throw. Maybe, she says as a light whimpers over her skin, I might just kill you first. She is bloodthirsty, Lyra. She's fantastic. So she's 17, 2 weeks shy of her 18th birthday when we get started. She does have a cousin as well. Her cousin, I adore her cousin Kalia. She's an amazing soul. Very gentle, very pure of heart, untainted by the Sea Queen's wrath. And she still has like hope, I suppose, inside of her. And you definitely pick up on those two textures, her soft personality compared to all of the other personalities that come up in the book, and there are a fair few. That would probably be actually one of my personal issues I have with it. It's got a lot of heavy-handed pirate lingo, like ragtag and swashbuckler, like all of that kind of stuff. And it's like, obviously I don't mind it to a degree, but it's a bit much when it's like relentless through the dialogue, when it comes from any of the characters aboard the Sod. That's the name of Elian's ship, his pirate ship. But again, that just comes down to personal preference, and it's just not quite my cup of tea when it's too overdone. So yes, overall 4 stars, totally recommend. I would read it again. It's definitely going into the Nook, and it certainly will kick off my autumn reading list. Stay tuned for the next video / podcast that comes out next Friday. Subscribe, let me know what you're reading. And there will also be more videos in regards to my fall to be read list, my fall hoard, getting cozy, redecorating my little Nook shelf. Just stay tuned, and much love to all. Mwah.